Hello guys, welcome to the first session of time, speed and distance. Let us take the first question. Two trains leave Ghaziabad at the difference of 3 hours. The train that leaves at 9 am at 60 km per hour is followed by the second train that travels at a speed of 80 km per hour in the same direction. At what time does the second train overtake the slower one? Also, what is the distance from Ghaziabad at the point of overtaking? So the scenario is at 9 am a train starts from Ghaziabad. The second train starts at 12 pm. As they say, there is a 3 hours gap. This first train travels at 60 km per hour and the second train at 80 km per hour. Now, there is a gap of 3 hours. So, in that 3 hours of gap, how much is the distance covered by the first train? So, you would realize time is given 3 hours, speed is given 60 km per hour, total 180 km per hour. 180 km is the distance which has been covered by the first train. So consider the train has come up till this point. This is 180 km. Okay. Now the train 2, the second train starts at 12 pm. What is the distance that the train 2 sees at this moment? Train 2 sees that train first is 180 kilometers ahead. Okay. So if you speak about the relative speed of train 2 with respect to train 1, this will be 80 km minus 60 km, that is equal to 20 km per hour. Since train T1 is also traveling and T2 is also traveling, we can stop T1, or we can imagine T1 to be stopped here. Okay, and only T2 to be traveling. Thus, we talk about the relative speed of T2. Relative speed of the second train with respect to the first train is 20 km per hour. And what is the distance to be covered? We already found out 180 km. Time taken T will be 180 km divided by speed, which is 9 hours. So the instance when the train T2 starts, which is 12 pm, after 12 pm it takes 9 hours to meet the first train. Thus, for the first question, the answer should be 9 pm. The two trains meet at 9 pm. Or you can say the second train overtakes the slower one at 9 pm. This one. You could also approach this question in a different way. If you think about the times for which the train T1 and T2 travel, if T2 travels for T hours, T1 has traveled for T plus 3 hours. It is already given in the question that T1 starts early, right? T1 starts at 9 am, T2 starts at 12 pm. So if T2 train has traveled for T hours, T1 has traveled for T plus 3 hours. And the distance is same because one of the train overtakes the other, right? So if this is the overtaking point, T1 has also covered this point, and T2, which is the faster one and starts late, also covers the same distance. Okay? If the distance is same, the product of speed and time will be same. What is the speed of T1? 60. What is the speed of T2? 80. What are the time takens? Time takens are already written. T plus 3 and this is T. And these two will be equal, right? Because the distance is same. Now if you see this, when Tt is equal to 180, T is equal to 9 hours. This shows that the train T2 has traveled for 9 hours. Train T2 starts at 12 pm, right? From 12 pm, 9 hours, the final time will be 9 pm. So this is same as the first method which we got here. Okay. And what is the second question? Second question says, what is the distance from Ghaziabad at the point of overtaking? So you can directly say the time, the second train travels for 9 hours. The second train travels for 9 hours. And what is its speed? The speed is 80 km. So total distance traveled is 720 km. You can take train 1 T1 also. Train T1 has totally traveled for T plus 3. T is 9, 9 plus 3 is 12. So train T1 has traveled for 12 hours with a speed of 60 km per hour, thus covering a distance of 720 km from Ghaziabad, and thus option will be A, 720 km. Hope you got the methods. Let us see the second question in this series. A bullet train passes through a pole near a railway track in 4 seconds. Another train with the same length but going in the opposite direction takes 25% more time to cross the pole completely. What can you say about the time taken by the two trains if they are crossing each other? So there is a railway track and there is a pole. Now a particular train, the first train, it takes 4 seconds, whereas the second train takes 25% more. What is 25% more of 4? 1/4 more, that is 1 second more. That means the train 2 takes 5 seconds to cross the same pole. Okay, one train takes 4 seconds, other takes 5 seconds. That means this train is a bit faster. You can consider the speed to be S1 and S2. Also, the length is given as same. The train is having the same length. So you can consider the length to be L. Now, when first train crosses the pole completely, it covers a distance which is equal to its own length. Why? Because there is no size, or the size of the pole or the width of the pole is negligible. A train, when compared to a pole, train is much longer, and that's why the width of the pole is considered negligible. For T1, time taken is 4 seconds. Time is nothing but distance by speed. Distance is the length of the train, which is L, and speed is S1. Similarly, for the second train, we can write phi is equal to L by S2. Now the question says, what can you say about the time taken by the two trains if they are crossing each other? Now these are the two trains. They are trying to cross each other. If they are crossing each other, what is the total distance they are covering? Initially, consider the train T1 to be like this and train 2 to be like this. How can you say the train have crossed each other when the position is something like this? Which means the total distance covered is the sum of the length of the trains. The total length will be 2L. And since we have been asked the time taken by the two trains to cross, what is the speed? Speed will be relative speed, because both of them are moving and they are moving in the opposite directions, or you can say they are moving towards each other. So the relative speed will be addition of the two speeds, because both of them are covering some distance. S1 plus S2. This is the time taken by both the train to cross each other completely. Now, since we have been given only 4 and 5, we have to find out what is the value of 2L by S1 plus S2. You can use these two to say that S2 divided by S1 is 4 by 5. Using these two, we found out the ratio of S2 by S1 is 4 by 5. Now you can use this S2 by S1 here. 2L divided by, you can write S1 here, and in place of S2 you can write 4S1 by 5. 4 by 5 of S1. This will become 9 by 5 of S1 or 10 by 9 of L by S1. What is the value of L by S1? L by S1 is 4. 10 by 9 into 4, that is 40 by 9 seconds. Thus, you can say 40 by 9 seconds is the time taken by these two trains to cross each other completely. I hope you understood the method.